If you follow me on this channel or if you're a member in the Paperless Movement membership, you know that we talk a lot about single source of truth and where to place information to find it easier later on. And then we talk about, okay, you just have to decide it goes into a database as your only personal knowledge management system. But the thing is, inside the tool, what do you do there in order to stay structured? And that's what we will dive in today. And here we are. This is all you need to know to structure any tool. It doesn't matter if it is Heptabase, Notion, Obsidian, even Apple Notes, or a piece of paper. You can apply the same principles to any personal knowledge management system. And that's important that we are here talking about the personal knowledge management. So we just look at the personal area of our productivity system, and here's Heptabase and Reader. And in my case, I apply the myICOR on Heptabase and Reader, and you will see what this means in this video. If you go to our overview of the ICOR methodology, here's the capturing beast, and this capturing beast is the processing of information into the different buckets of our myICOR, the myLife operating system, right? We have projects, we have key elements, and we have topics. And the moment we capture something, it needs to be instant to understand where to place things. So it cannot be too complicated or too many rules where to place it. So this is just different levels of prioritization. The key insight here, and to keep in mind, is that projects in this case is not action. It is information. So this means whenever I create projects in a PKM system, in personal knowledge management, it is just information related to projects that are ongoing in my project management system. Okay, if there's a project that the team works on, or if you're a solopreneur, you're working on this project, timelines and goals and directions and also on lives in your project management system. However, when you as an individual need to work on this project, sometimes you need to step back outside of the team, the business knowledge management, so nobody has to see, and you can have your messy mind going wild until you come up with the final solution. And the final solution goes then in your project management system. This is what we mean by my projects. Let's quickly go to my Heptabase, and here you have my projects, and that's the point where things come together from business and personal life, right? So that's my personal Heptabase here, and you see here, for example, myICOR app. This is where we launched now the myICOR application. Well, the thing that I just showed you here, right? This is the myICOR app. When I developed it, I had to think really deeply about all the different details, and therefore I had to have a whiteboard and go deep into the different aspects of how to create the application and so on. This is not living in my project management tool. If you go into the project management tool, which in our case is ClickUp, you see there is now the myICOR workstream, which was previously a project, now converted into a work stream where we keep on working on more features. But you see here all the features that we kept track of when we launched the app. And here is where I had the thought process how to accomplish it to then get back to the project management system. And at least in Heptabase, I like that I can use the different colors and so on. So I know these are the completed things. But for example, building a house, there we go. Okay, this is the project where we build a house, and that's what living in the My Projects. You see, we are doing an ICOR journey upgrade of the courses and so on, and there are some things that I need to think about. Also the YouTube content 2025. Boom, here we go. We can go here, double click. See, there are still just a few clicks away. I can still go here where I had all the thoughts about how to restructure the YouTube channels and how to launch the separate new YouTube channel that you have now about Heptabase and so on. It's done. Okay, but the process was always tracked in a project management tool, and that's important to keep in mind that we are never used the personal knowledge management system as a project management system. So what about key elements and topics? Well, key elements are really the things that affect your life all the time, like your health, your happiness, the paperless movement, the business that you own or that you work in, finances, things that really matter to you in life, family that goes in here, right? In my case, this is ongoing and always has highest priority over everything else, because if anything of this falls short, your whole life will crumble. So no need for personal knowledge management in the first place, right? And here in my topics, this is where you can please your FOMO, your fear of missing out. You can see there are a lot of topics that were ongoing, like game development. I always wanted to, well, I love learning about coding, and that's where game development was just a playful way to learn coding. I never was serious about it, but I kept adding, learning more and more about these topics. Eventually ended up in vibe coding, AI, things came together. until I realized, oh, I can now build an app, and this is the myICOR app that you can use now as a member. You see, this started all as a topic, and that might be stupid for years, and you just keep having a bucket where you can place any new ideas or insights in there without affecting your core areas, the key elements that you're working on right now in the project. Same for, let's say, cooking skills. Right here I have Italian cooking, Asian cooking. Whenever I found some recipes I want to test out, they go in there. But let's say at some point I want to open up a restaurant and make any of the cuisines. Boom, I have a starting point. I can kickstart the process because I, over years, collected information about this. This being said, there are just a few things here. In Reader, there are hundreds of topics that I have in there, and I just keep tracking. And that's where it becomes important that you replicate the structure in all the different tools without duplicating the exact structure. The example with topics explains this well. Here are really topics where I think I need to have a whiteboard and I want to dive a bit deeper. But in Reader, the Read Later app, I just add this in there and call it a day. But the moment I need to look up something later on because the topic maybe becomes a project, this is where I go to, and then I boom. By just selecting the tag in Reader, I will find all the things that I collected over time, and now I can kickstart the process with the new project or whatever is going on. So you see here, it's a visual representation of myICOR, but also, even if I go to my file system, here we go, my key elements, and then here I have insurances, and then I can open up the insurances, and there's the details. This is always giving me a starting point. At least have an idea. Is it a key element, or is it still a topic, or is it an ongoing project? And that makes it so easy then to retrieve information without opening up the search bar at all. How do you structure your life in these PKM systems? Do you have a different system? Do you already use the ICOR methodology? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like the video and the system that I showed you here, give the video a thumbs up, share with your friends, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so I can catch you up in the next one.